The Martian dust was unlike anything on Earth. It danced in the thin atmosphere, shimmering under the harsh sunlight like a sea of gold. Captain Lena Vasquez, her visor fogging slightly with each breath, peered through the chaos of the dust storm. Her crew, a mix of seasoned geologists and eager engineers, had been on Mars for 3 months now, digging into the planet's secrets as part of the Helios project. Lena had always been the first to push into the unknown, her curiosity as vast as the cosmos itself. Today, however, was different. Their drills had hit something hard, not rock, but metal, hidden deep beneath layers of Martian soil. The discovery was accidental, a mere anomaly in their seismic readings. But as they cleared away the dirt, the outline of something vast and alien emerged. A structure, silent and ancient, lay before them, its surface marred by time, yet unmistakably artificial. Lena's heart pounded against her chest. This wasn't just a scientific find. It was a revelation, a Pandora's box of the unknown. Her team gathered around, their suits clanking as they moved closer, their breaths heavy with anticipation.
"We need to report this,"
said Dr. Samir Patel, his voice crackling through the comms, a mix of excitement and caution. Lena knew the protocol. This discovery would shake the foundations of human understanding. But her instincts screamed for caution. The structure was clearly old, but how old? And more importantly, was it still active? The thought sent a chill down her spine. She decided to take a closer look before calling it in. Inside, the structure was a labyrinth of corridors, the walls lined with symbols that glowed faintly, as if the place remembered its creators. Lena led her team deeper, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. Every step felt like a trespass into a sacred space, each turn revealing more of the alien architecture. Suddenly, the silence was broken by a low hum, and lights, long dormant, flickered to life. Panic set in. "Back to the surface now!" Lena ordered, her voice firm, betraying none of the fear clutching at her heart. They made it out just as the entrance began to seal itself with a mechanical groan. Outside, the storm had passed, leaving the sky a strange pink hue. Lena knew they had awakened something, perhaps something that should have remained asleep. Back at their base camp, she faced a hard decision. Report immediately and risk an unprepared Earth facing whatever this was, or delay, to gather more data to understand the threat. Her team looked at her, their faces a gallery of emotions, from awe to dread. Choosing to delay, Lena ordered a small team to stay and monitor the site, while she worked on decrypting the symbols they had photographed. Every moment was a gamble now. The discovery could be their greatest achievement, or the prelude to humanity's downfall. As night fell over Mars, the stars above seemed to watch in silent judgment. Lena couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning, that the real story of Mars was about to unfold, and it might not be one where humans were the heroes. She sat alone, staring at the alien symbols, wondering if she had just doomed them all, or saved them from an even greater unknown. The Martian night was silent, a stark contrast to the chaos that had unfolded hours before. Captain Lena Vasquez sat in the makeshift command center, her eyes fixed on the screens displaying the alien structure they had unearthed. The symbols they had photographed were now being analyzed by AI back on Earth, but every minute felt like an eternity. Beside her, Dr. Samir Patel was feverishly working on the data, his fingers flying over the console. "These symbols," he murmured. "They're not just decorative. They're part of a language, a code." Lena nodded, her mind racing. We need to understand what we've woken up, Samir. What if it's a defense mechanism? The hum from the structure had ceased, but an eerie quiet had settled over the camp, the kind that precedes a storm. Suddenly, the ground trembled slightly beneath their feet. "Was that an earthquake?" asked engineer Mia Chen, her voice laced with alarm as she entered the room, her gaze darting between Lena and Samir. "No," Lena replied, her tone grave. "That was from the structure. It's waking up." The screens flickered as the structure's lights, visible even from their camp, began to pulse. Lena knew they had to act fast. "Get everyone back to the ship. Now." The team moved with urgency, their earlier excitement replaced by fear. As they prepared for evacuation, the structure's entrance, which had sealed, began to open again, this time with purpose. Lena and Samir watched from the ship's monitors as smaller, drone-like machines emerged from the structure, moving towards their mining equipment. "They're analyzing our tech," Samir observed, his voice tense. "Or disabling it." "We can't let them get to our ship," Lena decided, her leadership cutting through the panic. "Mia, prepare for liftoff. We'll observe from above." The ship ascended just as the drones reached the camp, their movements methodical, almost like they were cleaning up after an intruder. From the air, Lena could see more clearly. The structure was not just an artifact. It was a living, breathing part of an alien civilization, one that was now very much awake and perhaps not pleased with human visitors. "Should we alert Earth?" Mia asked, her hands steady on the controls despite the situation. Lena hesitated, the weight of her decision pressing down on her. If they alerted Earth now, it could lead to a military response, possibly escalating the situation. "Not yet. We need more data. We need to understand their intent." Samir, looking at the scans, pointed out,
These drones, they're not just security. Look at the energy signatures. They're transmitting data back to the structure. They're learning.
The ship hovered, safe for now, but Lena felt the noose tightening. "They're learning about us," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. "We need to send a message, a peaceful one." With no time for diplomacy, Lena improvised. She recorded a message in every major Earth language, explaining their peaceful intentions, and broadcast it towards the structure. The response was swift. The drones paused, then turned their attention to the ship, their formation shifting from aggressive to what could be interpreted as observational. "We've bought some time," Lena said, but her relief was short-lived. "But we need to prepare for the worst. We're not the only ones learning here." The ship descended cautiously to a new location, out of immediate danger, but still within sight of the awakening alien colony. Lena knew that every decision now could mean the difference between discovery and disaster. The night on Mars was far from over, and the true nature of their neighbors was yet to be fully understood. The sun had just risen over the Martian horizon, casting long shadows across the red sands where the Helios Project's ship now sat hidden. Inside, the tension was palpable. The crew barely rested after their night of revelations. Captain Lena Vasquez was on a secure line back to Earth, her expression grave as she spoke to General Hiroshi Tanaka, head of the newly formed Interplanetary Defense Force. "We've established communication," Lena reported, her voice steady, but her eyes betraying her fatigue. "But it's clear they're not here to share tea and cookies, General. Their drones are mapping our tech, and we don't know their intentions." Tanaka's face on the screen was stern, his military background evident in his posture. "Understood, Captain. We're mobilizing a response team.
You've done well buying us time.
But we need to know more before we act. Lena nodded, but her mind was racing. Time was something they might not have. General, there's more. We think there might be a human element at play. Someone leaked our location or tech specs. It's too coincidental. The general's eyes narrowed. We'll investigate that from our end. Meanwhile, maintain your position and observe. We're sending reinforcements, but Captain, if you feel the situation escalates, you have permission to act in defense. The call ended, leaving Lena with a sinking feeling. She turned to her team. We need to be ready for anything. Samir, keep analyzing that data. Mia, prepare for a potential quick exit. I want every contingency plan we've got ready to go. Samir, his eyes glued to the screens, nodded. I've got something interesting here. Look at this pattern in their communication. It's like they're querying a database about Earth, about us. Mia, ever the practical one, chimed in. And if they're asking about us, someone or something is answering. Could there be more of these structures? Lena pondered this, her mind piecing together the puzzle. Or someone on Earth has been in contact with them before us. A traitor, maybe. The day passed with a cautious watch. The alien drones had retreated, but not disappeared, circling the structure in a pattern that felt more like surveillance than aggression. As night approached, an unexpected ship entered Mars' atmosphere, not from Earth, but from the direction of the asteroid belt. Unidentified ship! Mia exclaimed, her voice rising with alarm. It's not from our fleet. Lena's heart skipped. Can we hail them? No response came, but the ship landed near the alien structure, its design unlike anything human-made. A figure emerged, humanoid but clearly not human, moving towards the structure with a familiarity that sent chills down Lena's spine. We need to get closer, Lena decided, her curiosity outweighing caution. Samir, Mia, gear up. We're going down there. Stealthily, they approached, using the Martian terrain for cover. The figure from the unknown ship was now interacting with the structure, their movements suggesting they were not just visitors, but possibly caretakers or controllers. Captain, look at this, Samir whispered, pointing at his device. The ship's signal matches the energy signatures we've been picking up from the structure. They're linked. Just then, the alien from the ship turned, locking eyes with Lena's team. For a moment, there was silence. Then the alien raised a hand, not in aggression, but in a gesture that might have been peace or recognition. Captain Vasquez, I presume? The voice was clear, through some form of translator. I am Envoy Varn of the Araxian Collective. You've stirred an old nest. Lena stepped forward, her hand near her weapon, but not drawing it. What do you want here, Envoy? Varn's expression was unreadable. To ensure this place does not become a battlefield. We've been observing Earth for centuries, but this colony was supposed to remain dormant. The revelation was like a blow. Centuries? And you've just decided to show up now? Lena's voice was sharp with the betrayal she felt.
Only when the balance is threatened, Varn replied. You humans are not ready for what lies beneath Mars, but perhaps we can help each other.
There's a greater threat coming, one neither of our races can face alone. The night was getting colder, the stars above indifferent to the drama unfolding below. Lena knew decisions made now would shape the future of both races, but trust was a luxury they could ill afford. The atmosphere inside the ship was thick with tension, the crew's minds racing with the implications of Varn's revelation. Captain Lena Vasquez stood at the helm, her gaze fixed on the Martian landscape where Envoy Varn had disappeared back into his ship after their brief, cryptic encounter. "Everyone, we're in uncharted territory," Lena began, her voice cutting through the silence. "We have an alien envoy now, and apparently we're not the only ones with an interest in Mars." Dr. Samir Patel was the first to speak up, his usually calm demeanor showing signs of stress. "If what Varn says is true, we need to understand both the threat and the potential ally. But how do we know he's not just manipulating us?" Mia Chen, the engineer, chimed in. "And what about that greater threat he mentioned? We need to see if there's any truth to that." Lena nodded, her decision firm. "We keep our distance for now, but we need to gather more intelligence. Samir, work on intercepting any communications between Varn's ship and the structure. Mia, prepare for any scenario, including a quick retreat." As the team dispersed to their tasks, a new alert beeped on the console. "Incoming ships!" Mia announced with alarm. "Human, from Earth." "They're early," Lena mused, her eyes narrowing. Could this be the military response, or something else? The ships descended, not with the precision of a rescue mission, but with the haste of an assault. The Martian sky lit up with the flares of descending ships, and soon the ground rumbled with the touch of boots and the clank of military gear. Lena and her team watched from a distance as a battalion, led by Colonel James O'Hara, whom Lena recognized from her briefings, began to set up a perimeter around the alien structure. Lena opened a secure channel to O'Hara. "Colonel, this situation is volatile. We've established some form of communication with an alien envoy. We need to proceed with caution." O'Hara's face was all business through the static. "Captain, we've been briefed, but our orders are clear. Secure the site. This isn't just about communication anymore. We have reason to believe this could be a strategic point for an alien incursion." Lena's heart sank at the mention of incursion. The situation was escalating far beyond her control. "Colonel, we might be dealing with allies here, not just enemies. There's an Araxian envoy." "We'll handle the diplomacy, Captain." O'Hara cut her off. "Prepare to assist with the operation." The ground erupted in chaos as the human forces engaged with the alien drones, which had suddenly turned defensive. Energy beams clashed with human weaponry, lighting up the Martian night with an eerie glow. Lena couldn't just watch. "Mia, we're going out there. We need to stop this before it turns into a massacre." As they suited up and moved towards the battle, Lena spotted Varn, his figure now standing atop his ship, observing the conflict. She hailed him. "Varn, stop this! We can talk! Resolve this peacefully!" Varn's response was calm, almost detached. "Humans have chosen their path, Captain Vasquez, but I will not let this site fall to violence." Suddenly, the alien structure activated, not with aggression, but with a force field that encased it, repelling both human and drone forces alike. The battle paused, both sides stunned by this display of unknown technology. O'Hara's voice crackled over the comms. "Stand down! All units, stand down!" Lena approached O'Hara amidst the confusion. "This isn't a war zone, Colonel. It's a negotiation table we've turned into a battlefield." O'Hara looked at her, his eyes reflecting the harsh reality of their situation. "I see that now, Captain. But we've opened Pandora's box. How do we close it?" The silence that followed was loaded with the weight of decisions yet to be made. The Martian wind whispered across the battlefield, carrying the promise of more revelations, more conflicts, and, perhaps, a chance for peace if they could only navigate the complexities of this new, interstellar reality. The dust had barely settled from the skirmish when a new shadow loomed over the horizon of Mars. Captain Lena Vasquez, standing amidst the aftermath of the brief but intense battle, felt a chill that had nothing to do with the Martian cold. The structure's force field had ended the conflict, but now something else was coming. "Look at that," Mia Chen said, pointing towards the sky where a massive vessel was descending, unlike anything Earth had sent or Varn's ship could match. Its design was a blend of organic curves and sharp metallic spikes, a testament to an advanced, alien aesthetic. "That's not Araxian." Varn's voice came through the comms, his tone one of concern. "This is something else. Something we've been monitoring but hoped wouldn't find this place." Colonel O'Hara, his face grim, joined Lena and her team. "We've got to prepare for the worst. If this is an enemy of Varn's people, we might want to reconsider our approach." Lena nodded, her mind racing. "Varn, can you communicate with them? Maybe we can avoid another fight." But Varn's reply was cautious. "My people have had conflicts with these beings, the Zetharians. They're not here for peace. They seek to claim or destroy what they cannot control." The Zetharian ship landed with a thunderous impact, shaking the ground. From it emerged creatures that were both terrifying and mesmerizing, their forms a mix of technology and biology, moving with a predatory grace.
"Attention, humans,"
a voice echoed, translated through some unseen technology. "You have violated a sacred site. Surrender the area, or face obliteration." Lena, not one to back down, responded, "We're here to explore, not to fight. This isn't just your territory anymore." The Zetharian leader, a towering figure with multiple eyes, seemed to consider this for a moment before replying, "Exploration or exploitation. We see no difference. You will leave,
or you will not leave at all."
The standoff was tense, the air electric with hostility. Varn stepped forward, his voice calm but firm.
"Zetharians, this site has been under Araxian protection. We've all lived in peace. Why disrupt it now?"
The Zetharians' response was immediate, a growl more than words. "Because humans have awakened what should have slept, we will not allow the balance to shift." Suddenly, the Zetharians launched an attack, not at the human forces, but at the structure itself. Energy weapons tore at the force field, which flickered under the assault. "We've got to help defend it!" Lena shouted, directing her team. "If this falls, we might lose our only leverage for peace." O'Hara, seeing the strategic advantage, ordered his troops, "Support the structure's defenses. We're in this together now." Together, human and Araxian technology worked in tandem, creating a patchwork defense against the Zetharian onslaught. Lena, amidst the chaos, felt a strange bond forming, not just with Varn, but with the idea of humanity's place among the stars. The battle was brutal, with losses on all sides. The structure, however, stood resilient, its technology absorbing and reflecting attacks in ways human science had never conceived. As the dust settled, the Zetharians withdrew, their ship lifting off with a menacing hum. "This is not over, humans, nor you, Araxian," the voice warned before disappearing into the Martian sky. Lena, breathing heavily, looked at Varn. "What now?" Varn's gaze was inscrutable. "Now, we must prepare. The Zetharians will return with more force. And there's something else we must discuss, Captain. The reason this place was hidden, and why it matters to all of us." The Martian night was upon them again, but this time it was filled with the echoes of a battle that was just the beginning. The true test of humanity's resolve in the cosmos was yet to come. The aftermath of the Zetharian attack left the Martian base in a state of cautious recovery. Tensions were high, not just from the external threat, but from the internal suspicions that had begun to grow. Captain Lena Vasquez was piecing together the fragmented trust among her allies when Varn approached with urgency. "We need to talk, Captain." "Now," Varn said, his usually composed demeanor showing signs of strain. Lena led him to a secure area within their makeshift command center. "What's wrong, Varn?" Varn produced a device displaying data streams. "We've intercepted communications. There's a human signal, one that's been in contact with the Zetharians, from within your ranks." The revelation hit Lena like a physical blow. "Who?" "We don't know yet," Varn admitted, "but we must find them before they can cause more damage." As they strategized, an explosion rocked the base. "That came from the communication hub!" Mia Chen shouted, racing to the scene. The hub was in chaos, smoke billowing from the wreckage. Lena, with Varn and her team, found Colonel O'Hara amidst the debris, his face smeared with soot. "We were sabotaged," he said, coughing. "Someone tried to destroy our ability to communicate with Earth." Lena's mind connected the dots. "The traitor isn't just leaking information, they're trying to isolate us." The search for the mole became frantic. Every member of the team was under scrutiny, their movements and communications logged. Suspicion fell on Dr. Samir Patel when it was discovered he had accessed secure files not related to his work. Confronted, Samir was indignant. "You think I'd betray humanity? I've been working to understand the alien tech, not sabotage it." But the evidence was damning. "Then explain this," Lena demanded, showing the logs. Samir's eyes widened in realization. "That's not me. I was set up. Check the timestamps. I was with you when this happened." The real betrayer had been clever, using Samir's access to cover their tracks. Time was running out, and with the Zetharians likely preparing for a return strike, Lena needed to act fast. Then, a subtle anomaly in the data caught Mia's eye. "Look at this pattern. It matches someone else's access code, Major Reynolds." Major Reynolds, O'Hara's second-in-command, had been oddly quiet during the chaos. Lena and her team moved swiftly, finding Reynolds in his quarters, attempting to erase more data. Caught red-handed, Reynolds sneered. "You humans are so naive. The Zetharians promised us technology beyond anything we can imagine. This was just the beginning." Before they could secure him, an alarm blared. The Zetharians were back, this time with a fleet. The base scrambled, but with communications compromised, they were at a severe disadvantage. "Prepare for battle," O'Hara commanded. "We fight for Mars and for Earth." The sky was lit with the fire of space combat as human and Araxian ships clashed with the Zetharian fleet. Lena, in the command center, coordinated the defense, her mind split between strategy and the betrayal she'd uncovered. With a sudden, bold move, Varn's ship led a counterattack, using unknown tech to disrupt the Zetharian formation. "We need to take out their command ship," Varn's voice echoed through the chaos. Lena, seeing an opportunity, ordered, "All ships, focus fire on the lead Zetharian vessel. Now." The battle was fierce, with losses on both sides, but the combined human and Araxian forces managed to cripple the enemy flagship. As it began to descend, crashing into the Martian landscape, the rest of the Zetharian fleet retreated. Breathing heavily, Lena looked out over the battlefield, the cost of betrayal and war evident. But they had won this round. Now, the real work of rebuilding trust and preparing for what comes next would begin. The victory against the Zetharian fleet felt hollow, the cost in lives and trust too high. Mars was a battleground, its red sands now stained with the remnants of war. Captain Lena Vasquez stood at the edge of the newly established command center, her gaze fixed on the smoldering wreckage of the Zetharian flagship in the distance. The silence was broken by the hum of machinery and the distant cries of repair crews. Lena's team, alongside what was left of O'Hara's forces, worked tirelessly. But the betrayal by Major Reynolds had sown seeds of doubt among everyone. Lena's focus shifted to the alien structure, its force field still active but flickering, a sign of its own battle scars. She knew they had to understand its technology, its purpose, before the Zetharians returned with reinforcements. The days passed in a blur of strategic meetings, repairs, and covert operations to infiltrate the alien structure. Varn, with his deep understanding of the Araxian tech, became an invaluable ally, though his motives were still a puzzle. One night, as Lena stood watch, she noticed an anomaly. A small Zetharian scout ship, cloaked, had landed near the structure. With stealth, she approached, witnessing a clandestine meeting between a figure in human military garb and a Zetharian envoy. The human was Lieutenant Carter, another of O'Hara's trusted officers, now clearly a traitor. Lena's heart sank. The betrayal was deeper than they had thought. She silently recorded the exchange before slipping away to inform Varn and O'Hara. The decision was swift. They couldn't let this new betrayal go unpunished or unchallenged. A small, elite team, including Lena, Varn, and a handful of loyal soldiers, moved to apprehend Carter. The confrontation was brief but intense, ending with Carter's capture, but at the cost of revealing their position to the Zetharian scout. The scout ship launched an immediate counterattack, its weapons tearing through the night. Lena and her team were forced into defensive positions, the Martian landscape providing cover but little else. Varn, displaying an unexpected prowess in combat, managed to disable the scout ship's weapons with a pulse from his tech, buying them time. But the main Zetharian fleet was on its way, alerted by the scout's distress signal. With no time for subtlety, Lena ordered an all-out assault on the alien structure. "We need control of that tech now," she thought, leading her team into the labyrinthine corridors. Inside, they encountered automated defenses, remnants of the structure's original purpose. The siege of the structure was brutal, with Lena narrowly avoiding death several times. They reached the core, where ancient Araxian technology pulsed with energy. Varn, with reverence, interfaced with the controls, his face illuminated by the alien lights. "This can end this war," he whispered. As the Zetharian fleet arrived, casting shadows over Mars, the structure's defenses activated, not just to protect, but to attack, using energy weapons of such magnitude that they pushed back the Zetharian ships. But victory came at a price. As Lena turned to celebrate, a Zetharian sniper, hidden within the structure, fired. The shot was meant for her, but Varn pushed her aside, taking the bullet meant for the human captain. Varn fell, his life force draining away, his last act one of sacrifice for a species not his own. Lena, with tears in her eyes, knew this was the endgame. The structure was theirs, but the cost of this war, this betrayal, was etched into her soul. With the Zetharians retreating, Lena knew this was not the end, but a temporary reprieve. The structure held secrets that could change everything or destroy them all. She looked at Varn's lifeless form, a silent promise to honor his sacrifice, to make this count for something. The Martian dawn broke over a landscape still trembling from the night's battle. Captain Lena Vasquez, her heart heavy with the loss of Varn, stood at the threshold of the alien structure, now under human control. The structure's technology, once a mystery, was now a beacon of hope and dread. The Zetharians, though pushed back, would return, their hatred for humans and their technology now personal. Lena knew they had to act decisively. She convened with what was left of her team and Colonel O'Hara in the command center, rebuilt amidst the chaos. "We've got the upper hand, but it won't last," Lena began, her voice firm despite the fatigue. "This structure can end this war, but we need to do it on our terms." O'Hara, his face lined with the weight of command, nodded. "We've got one shot. What's the plan?" Dr. Samir Patel, now cleared of suspicion, had been working non-stop. "The core of this structure is a quantum entanglement device. We can use it to send a signal, not just through space, but time. We could warn Earth, prepare for an all-out defense." Lena's eyes lit up with a grim determination. "And we can use it to send a message to the Zetharians, one they can't ignore." Their plan was risky, involving harnessing the structure's energy to both communicate and weaponize their message. They would send a warning back to Earth to prepare for a Zetharian invasion and a direct threat to the Zetharians, using the structure's technology to show they weren't to be underestimated. The work was frantic. Engineers, scientists, and soldiers worked together, integrating human technology with the alien. As they prepared, Lena couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, the weight of Varn's sacrifice pushing her to ensure it wasn't in vain. Finally, they were ready. Samir initiated the sequence, the core glowing with an otherworldly light. Sending the warning to Earth now, and to the Zetharians. The message to Earth was a call to arms, a revelation of the interstellar conflict, urging unity and preparation. The message to the Zetharians was a demonstration of the structure's power, a promise of retaliation should they continue their aggression, wrapped in a display of the weapon's capability. As the message echoed through the cosmos, the Zetharian fleet appeared on the horizon of Mars again, this time with an armada that blotted out the stars. Their response was immediate, a barrage of energy that threatened to overwhelm Mars's defenses. "This is it!" Lena shouted over the comms. "Activate the defense protocol!" The structure responded, its technology creating a massive EMP-like wave that disrupted the Zetharian ship's systems. Ships began to falter, some crashing into Mars' surface, others exploding in the atmosphere. But the Zetharians had one last trick. A mothership, larger than any seen before, descended, its hull bristling with weapons aimed directly at the structure.
"We need to take that out,"
O'Hara commanded. "All forces, converge on the mothership." Lena, leading from the front, piloted one of the few remaining human ships, her strategy clear. Use the structure's energy to create a singularity, a black hole small enough to destroy the mothership, but controlled enough not to consume Mars. The battle was a dance of death and defiance. Lena's ship, along with others, dove towards the Zetharian mothership, drawing its fire while Samir and his team managed the singularity from the ground. As they neared, Lena's ship was hit, systems failing. "Keep going," she ordered her crew, her voice calm amidst the chaos. "For Varn, for Earth." With the last of her ship's power, Lena directed it into a collision course with the mothership. At the same moment, Samir activated the singularity. The Zetharian ship, caught in the event horizon, began to collapse into itself, its destruction a beacon of human resilience. Lena's ship, now beyond saving, spiraled away from the singularity. Knowing her end was near, she smiled, a bittersweet acknowledgement of their victory. "We did it, team," she whispered into the calm, her last words. The singularity dissipated, leaving behind the wreckage of what was once an invincible fleet. Mars was scarred but safe, at least for now. Earth, now warned, would prepare for whatever came next, united under the banner of a species that had just proven its place among the stars. Lena Vasquez had given her life, but in doing so, she had ensured humanity's survival and its message to the universe. Humanity? Fuck yeah.